is anyway, and that's no disrespect to them, that happens to be the Constitution. But the Crown is, in a way, runs the whole apparatus of state in a way people do not begin to understand. That apparatus has a kind of a mind of its own, so that only someone who'd been very closely involved in it, like the Queen Mother, would be in a position to guide and advise the new monarch. And I know that this was the case for the early days and even the first half of the reign, because that's no reflection on Her present Majesty. It's simply that that enormous machine does take a bit of getting used to. The Queen Mother had been involved with it all through the reign of her husband when she was the consort, so she knew how to cooperate with them and sometimes how to get her own way.
As Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, her popularity didn't wane. In fact, as she became the personification of, first, everyone's favourite aunt, and then a gentle and kindly grandmother figure, she was regarded with even more affection. In the 1960s, Her Majesty had a particular pleasure in staying in Northern Ireland, for her elder sister Rose was living at Hillsborough House as the wife of the Governor, Lord Granville, and she could mix duty with family reunion.
She was quite a different character from the Queen Mother, both in appearance and in personality, but she was a very charming person nevertheless. But the linkage, I suppose, with me was that the Queen Mother would invariably, even on state occasions when we would be blocking the presentation line at an official function, to ask me how the rose garden was getting on at Hillsborough and whether the trees planted down to the west side of the pond had developed and all that. And then she would go on another occasion to ask about the state of decoration in the throne room and in the internal reception rooms. So she still took a very, very active interest, mainly, I think, because her sister had redesigned a good deal of the grounds, particularly the garden.
In Belfast in 1963, the Queen Mum, as she was now popularly known, visited the City Hall and opened the War Memorial Building in Waring Street, making reference to Northern Ireland's contribution to military leadership, but stressing the need for peacemakers.
I am indeed proud that I could have been invited to open this building, the Northern Ireland War Memorial. Time tarnishes many things, but it has in no way diminished the lustre of those whom we commemorate and honour today. Northern Ireland has become known, and with ample justification, as a birthplace of great commanders. But modern war nowadays concerns the whole nation, men and women, the private soldier, as well as the commander-in-chief, the worker in the factory or on the land, as well as heads of government. This memorial will serve to remind us, and those who will come after us, that our heritage of freedom and the rights and privileges which we enjoy today were, under the providence of God, preserved for us at great price in human life during 2 world wars.
Those were different days. The Queen Mother also opened a tobacco factory while she was in the province, Gallagher's new plant at Lisnafillin in Ballymena. Today, health-conscious advisors would hardly allow such a royal sponsorship. Her other duties included opening the new civil airport at Aldergrove. Then it was back to London on board a Heron of the Royal Flight, which this venerable lady used to fulfill engagements. But according to those who knew her and flew her, the Queen Mother had a lot of spirit and enjoyed nothing better than a spin in a helicopter right up to her 90s. Security during the Northern Ireland troubles dictated that she had to fly in by helicopter for most engagements here. At Hillsborough, when she was 83, the Queen Mother was still demonstrating her popularity with the general public, and particularly with children, who seemed to find her a relaxing, granny-like figure. It was on that occasion in 1983 that another of the lady's attributes was demonstrated, her interest in working people. She inquired about her sister's former long-serving chauffeur and footman, McCarthy, who was duly granted an audience to talk about old times. He was unstinting in his praise of the Queen Mother's family.
Apparently it was discussed at dinner last night that the Queen would like to speak to me, and I got the opportunity this morning of coming here and speaking to her, which delighted him. And she recognised me straight away, of course, even though with my long looks And
you didn't have those then?
no, I didn't have those then. We had to have a short haircut then when you're doing that sort of work, because you got to be clean and tidy inside the house, especially government house. And she said, "I believe you're an ambulance driver." I didn't tell it to her. She was told that last night. So then she mentioned her sister's garden, the Countess Granville's garden, which is still called the Granville garden yet. And many a time I give the Countess a bit of a hand in too, by doing inside work too, making the tea, things like that there in the afternoon.
What kind of a person would you say the Queen Mother is?
Say Queen Mother is a great person, which she showed herself to this morning, even speaking to the public in Hillsborough. They've been asked to do it. It's her type of, it's just her type. And her sister was just the same. They're absolutely terrific to work for.
At Castle Cool 5 years later, to open a house restored for the National Trust, the Queen Mother was still giving priority to those who serve. Regardless of politics, it was difficult not to be impressed by a woman of 88 who could make a speech with the clarity with which she delivered her address at Castle Cool, sympathising particularly with the families of those who had been killed or disabled by the IRA bomb in Enniskillen the year before.
On this visit to County Fermanagh, my thoughts must inevitably turn to the events at Enniskillen on Remembrance Day last year, only a mile or so from here. My heart goes out, as it did then, to the families and friends who lost their lives, and to those who are still recovering from their injuries. May God give them all courage and hope.
The mother of Mary Wilson, who died in the bombing, had a private word with Her Majesty and returned a compliment about personal bravery.
She thought we'd shown great courage and bravery. I said, after all, that example has come from her to us.
Her Majesty's visit to Castle Cool at the age of 88 also demonstrated the lady's lovely way with young children. The little man who had to present her with the scissors to cut the tape is defying all stage-whispered attempts to get him to bow. But the Queen Mother made arrangements for someone to pass her a coin of the realm as an inducement.